Housing News 360, the headline: Wike approves major projects to boost infrastructure and security. Housing Development Advocacy Network begins nationwide compilation of unoccupied housing projects. Landlord sues Lagos government over 6-story building in Banana Island. From the foreign scene, Rubio's G-20 boycott deepens US-South Africa tensions over land reform. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has approved several major infrastructure projects to enhance service delivery and security in Abuja. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike presided over the approval of contracts for 2 new magistrate courts in Asokoro and Gariki districts valued at 7,600 million naira and 6,300 million naira respectively. These projects are expected to be completed within 15 to 18 months. In addition, the administration approved the construction of 2 multi-event sports centers in Abuja set for completion in 12 months. Other key infrastructure developments include a power supply line from Dawaki to Buhari and a solar street lighting system for Arab Road and its connecting U-shaped road. This project aimed at improving security in satellite towns are scheduled to be completed in 6 months at a cost of 3,065 million naira. To further enhance security, the FCT administration has approved the establishment of 6 divisional police headquarters with staff quarters in Kuje, Gwagwalada and Kwali area councils with a total budget of 3,648 million naira. The Housing Development Advocacy Network has launched a nationwide effort to document unoccupied housing projects across Nigeria, with findings set to be presented within 4 months. This initiative aims to address concerns over abandoned estates that remain vacant due to poor infrastructure, inconvenient locations, and ineffective allocation processes. According to HDANS Executive Director Festus Adebayo, the organization is taking a proactive approach to resolving Nigerians' housing crisis by identifying and addressing these issues. As part of its advocacy, HDAN is pushing for amendments to outdated housing laws, including the Federal Housing Authority Act, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria Act, and the National Housing Fund Act. The organization is also working towards a legal framework that supports social housing and guarantees citizens' right to affordable shelter. Additionally, HDAN is strengthening research efforts by supporting the National Housing Data Center Steering Committee to ensure accurate data collection for informed policy making and investment. A Lagos landlord, Dr. Ifeanyi Chukwuma, has taken legal action against the Lagos state government and its building and planning agencies for approving a 6-story building on plot B7 Banana Island, allegedly in violation of the area's original building model. He argues that the approval contradicts the Ikoyi Victoria Island Model City Plan, which limits development in Zone B to low residential density with a maximum height of 25 meters and no more than 4 floors. The lawsuit filed at the Lagos State High Court also names the Attorney General of Lagos State and Fandago Properties Limited as co-defendants. Dr. Chukwuma claims that the building located next to his property negatively impacts his privacy and safety. He alleges that the developer, Fandago Properties, reduced the required setbacks, causing issues such as heat accumulation, restricted airspace, and increased risk of falling objects. Despite previous interventions, including a stop work order issued in September 2024, construction has allegedly continued in defiance of regulatory authorities. The indigenous people of Ejiyan Ekiti in Ijeru local government area, Ekiti State, have rejected the relocation of the 148 Nigerian Army barracks from Ikoro Ekiti to Ikere Ekiti. The community claimed ownership of the land originally allocated for the barracks in 2013 before Ejiyan Ekiti gained autonomy. In a statement, the Ejiyan Ekiti Development Council, led by Chief Adepoju Ajibare and Dele Borishade, asserted that the affected families are descendants of Ejinia Ekiti. They also demanded recognition and direct compensation for damages, highlighting that 75% of the compensation for lost economic trees and valuables remain unpaid. The community called on the Nigerian Army and government to reconsider the relocation decision and address the outstanding compensation to ease the suffering of affected families. 12 suspected land grabbers were arrested by Lagos State Task Force in Alausa, Ikeja, after obstructing legitimate activities and assaulting a hotel owner, Mr. Ashafa. The suspects, who were armed with dangerous weapons, were apprehended following credible intelligence about their illegal activities. The task force aims to end land grabbing, which disrupts development and victimizes residents. The task force aims to end land grabbing, which disrupts development and victimizes residents. CSP Adetayo Akerele, the chairman of the task force, personally oversaw the arrest and warned offenders that the agency would not tolerate land grabbing in Lagos. The suspects have been charged and pleaded not guilty in court. Their cases has been adjourned till March 26, 2025. Each suspect has been granted bail of 500,000 naira with conditions that include providing 2 sureties, one a civil servant and the other a community leader or relative. The Lagos State Task Force urges residents to report any unlawful activities. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has announced he will boycott the upcoming G-20 summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, set for February 20 to 21st due to opposition to South Africa's land expropriation law. Rubio condemned the policy on X, accusing South Africa of expropriating private property and promoting divisive ideology. This decision follows criticism from U.S. President Donald Trump, who also condemned the land reform policy, accusing South Africa of unjust land seizures and mistreatment of certain groups. South Africa has been a key recipient of U.S. aid, receiving over $8 billion in the past 2 decades. The controversy stems from South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's signing of the Expropriation Act, which allows the government to expropriate land for public use with fair compensation, aiming to address racial disparities in land ownership dating back to apartheid. Ramaphosa clarified that the law is not about coercification, but ensuring equitable access to land in line with the country's constitutional democracy. The move has sparked debate both locally and internationally, with figures like tech mogul Elon Musk and President Trump criticizing the policy. As the G20 summit approaches, Rubio's boycott adds further strain to U.S.-South Africa relations, signaling potential diplomatic fallout. The situation highlights ongoing tension between the two nations as the world watches how this dispute could influence international relations and U.S. involvement in South African policies. For more housing news, catch up with Housing TV Africa across all social media platforms.